So I did a mechanical engineering degree as well, unsurprisingly. Was offered a place on a PhD, but couldn't get out fast enough. I needed to go work 9 to 5 for a bit. I struggled somewhat with the sort of mental health aspects, I suppose, of university and the constant sense that you ought to be doing something. So I went and got my 9 to 5 job, working in medical devices on a graduate scheme, and worked in various different departments in medical devices. So anything from clinical affairs to marketing to finite element analysis to quality assurance. But what it turns out is I do not have the patience to work on medical devices because everything has got to be so perfectly documented. But what I had really enjoyed was my stint in the sort of facilities and estates side of that. So moved away from medical devices and moved into building services. And love that. I love the fast pace of and the variety of working in construction and the huge variety of challenges that having all the heating and ventilation and all the other services, especially because I worked in process industry side of things. So it was all sort of pharmaceutical plants making flu vaccines and all sorts of things. So rewarding as well. And from the first point that someone had suggested to me working in engineering, they'd also told me about chartership. And I like a target and I like a goal. So I'd set out, probably from age 14 or so, I was going to be a chartered engineer. So having got my career going, was very keen to make sure that I was finding ways of meeting all those competency criteria, and got myself chartered quite early on. But the trouble with that was that moment then you've had this goal for over a decade and suddenly you've achieved it. What do I do now? So that came as a bit of a surprise, I suppose, but it gave me the space and the opportunity, similarly to you, Rich, of ending up leading our graduate schemes. I really enjoy helping others grow and develop, and didn't feel like our grad schemes were up to scratch. So got very involved with helping training the next generation on coming into the office, but also enjoyed doing that as outreach and things. So was honing those sort of delivery skills through that, and discovered that I actually enjoyed that side of things even more than I did the engineering directly. And I'd had my daughter, and whilst she was in nursery, I found the construction industry was a great place to be. I could still work and be a mum, but I found that the point that she was going to school and I wanted to work different hours rather than less days a week. It wasn't at that point as flexible as I suspect now post COVID it would be a bit different. But so the two things, the push of really enjoying developing others and the pull of needing to be working hours that suited parenthood, led me to move to academia and be teaching engineering design. And it was once I was in academia that, again, with Richard's help, became a fellow as well.
We can't hear you.
Your battery might have gone on your headphones.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, that was a bit traumatic. What was the last thing I said?
It's all my fault because I
helped
become a fellow.
and my speakers then weren't working, so I didn't hear you either. Excellent. Okay, so had I moved into academia?
Yes, just about.
Brilliant. Okay, so it's a recent moment that my speakers hadn't
worked. That's fantastic. Okay, so I moved into academia, and it was that I found fellowship was beginning to call me. I think academia is somewhere where I found more so than industry, you need evidence to demonstrate your ability to progress. Certainly in my years in industry, there was much more ability to talk with a manager and for them to recognise your strengths and promote on that basis. Whereas in academia, my experience so far has been need more evidence, and therefore fellowship was quite a good way of evidencing some of the things needed for promotion, which sort of pushed me down that route. And in terms of other things that helped me fulfill it, I think, as well as doing the breadth of things I had done within industry and within academia, also I do quite a lot of outreach. So that side of things, ranging from popping into schools locally to talk to 30 children, right up to Royal Academy of Engineering programs where we're recording videos that go out to anyone that wants them internationally. I think certainly helped me as well.